Hey guys, Rick and Duke. Welcome to another episode of Warhog Words of Wisdom. This one here, we're going to talk about misinformation. That's right. Federal government announced today that Department of Homeland Security is going to start a misinformation board for that wrong info out there on social media. So shocking how this is happening right on the tail end of Elon Musk getting Twitter. Someone a little afraid? I'd say probably, yeah. What are they afraid of? The truth. So we're going to dub it misinformation. Before I jump into it, let's do this. A little bit of housekeeping. So here's a quick accountability check. You know what I'm going to ask you. Sit there and work out today? If not, you still got time in the day. If you're that armed individual, do your dry fire training? I hope so. If not, still got hours in the day. Don't forget, what are you grateful for? Act of kindness. I mean, it's just that little accountability for you. On a sidebar note, guys, do me a huge favor. Please help us grow the show, help get the word out there. Hit that subscribe button, leave us a rating review. I don't care if it's just a thumbs up emoji, do something. Obviously, if you're driving, wait till you're at a safe spot to do that. Don't forget, guys, check out warhog.com, kellydefense.com. Sign up for our newsletter and check out our OTR training on demand. Super excited about that one. Link in both of our pages right there on the homepage. So check that stuff out and go from there. So jumping in, man, I got to tell you guys, I've got this funny little book here for those of you on YouTube. You'll see it. The Constitution of the United States. I wonder what this little guy's got to say. Wow. Shocking. I'm already right there on the First Amendment. See what founding fathers had to say about this. Congress shall make no law representing an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise therefore, or abridging the freedom of speech or of the press. And then, of course, it talks about peaceful assembly. But let's think about it. I'm going to read this again. Freedom of speech. So what is the government's definition of misinformation? If I can say what I want, all right, I've got my Twitter, I've got my Instagram, my Facebook. But wow, shockingly, the government gave them protections under Section 230 to allow me that very freedom so they could not be held responsible. But now we've seen these platforms really turn into power players. If you think about it, they can persuade people. Why? Because we're not doing our due diligence as good Americans. We're not doing our research. We're not looking at multiple sources. We're sitting there going, hey, the magic box told me X. It must be true. I'm here to tell you, if you're in that boat, you got to stop. We might put that in the accountability check. But here's the bottom line. Where does the federal government get off having this misinformation board? So now I can't express my opinion, my feeling, because, it's misinformation. So if I want to sit there and go, I think the masks were a bunch of rubbish during this China virus, or if I want to call it the China virus, are they going to sit there and say I'm wrong? Wow, that's I don't know what part of the first freedom of speech that we're not getting here, but again, these platforms, and they're doing it, right? They're the very ones that started this whole drama. And really, I got to say this. I think what Elon Musk wants to do to Twitter is absolutely fantastic. He wants to clean that rubbish up, right? And, I've said this before, Mike Ritland brought up a great point as well. You've got to have some type of form of identification to get on these social platforms. You've got to submit to them. So everyone's going to get a blue check mark, right? This whole rubbish of this non-blue check mark. Yeah, man, that's going to go away the dodo bird here. At least I hope on Twitter. So now, for example, I'm John Doe, and granted, you might have to be John Doe number 23 because there's umpteen John Does, whatever the case may be. But at least you're a real person. So John Doe puts out whatever. Okay, dude, go right to the source. But at the end of the day, you can say what you want. So at least this way, you're having a conversation with somebody. So depending when this airs, depending last time you were on Instagram, you might see Rick Hoggy, another fake account pops up, right? Gets reported, says all this other stuff, but it's crap like that. So it's all these catfishes out there, and it's funny because they're all tied to some type of cryptocurrency dude, because he's following like 3 guys and they're all cryptocurrency guys, right? So I know what's happening. All them stupid bot messages you get. Oh, you want to learn more about crypto? You want to sit there and do this? Dude, if I want to learn more about crypto, I'm going to go find out more about crypto, right? Quit soliciting me on these platforms. It's like I don't solicit people for anything. I put out a post. I say, hey, man, here's my upcoming classes. Hey, man, here's my products I have on the website. Here's the fundraising I'm doing, and this is what the fundraising efforts are going towards. Yes, perfectly fine with that. But just to arbitrarily pick people and go, hey, so-and-so made me $10,000. Dude, I don't care. Okay? Quit, go away, bot. So I think if Elon Musk can clean up Twitter, it's going to be a game changer. And then obviously, freedom of speech. Why does it take the richest man in the world to set up or buy a public company, turn it private, so that now we've got a platform that we can actually say what we want? I tell you, I'm still absolutely amazed, but I can tell you this, man, the federal government, they're peddling. So I don't know last time old Brandon put out a tweet, or if he even tweets, or what platform he uses, but if he sits there and goes, hey, I knew nothing about Hunter's business dealings. Little misinformation on that one. I don't know. This whole laptop thing, boy, they don't want that one out there either. It's like, so it's like trying to suppress the things you want, but keep the info they want to put out there. So here's what I'm going to tell you guys. This would be, I guess my thing to you, because here's the beauty, right? Being a podcaster, to me, it's the last true piece of American freedom, because again, the podcast isn't being censored. Nobody's out there bleeping my words. Nobody's out there, pulling it. Granted, we don't have the reach like we like, but the way we get that done is via our listeners. So share these with your friends, share it with your family. But again, when the 2022 reckoning happens, you want to sit there and make sure that the people you vote for, and yes, in the state of North Carolina, early voting has started. So make sure you guys get out there and vote. But here's the thing. You've got to hit up these representatives and say, hey, we want social reform. Here's the deal. Social reform number 1, put them on the spot. They're either they get 230 or they shut their program down. So if you aren't familiar with Section 230, go take a look at it and read what it says. But basically says these platforms are not responsible for what people say. Okay, boom. There's first and foremost. So either you're going to get Section 230 or your editorial, which will totally change you from a social media platform to a news agency, basically. But that's got to happen. The other thing that needs to happen is the days of the blue check mark gone. Everyone's a blue check mark. You have to have some type of identification to prove, yep, here's me. I'm a true live breathing person. So the days of all these bots and all this other rubbish crap out there, gone. It's shocking how they'll sit there and pull my posts when I do something as far as firearms, but man, all this other rubbish solicitation that I get, that's all good. So absolutely amazing to watch these platforms and just how jacked up they are. Here's the other thing. I would say this, I'm part of that reform, and again, I got to give credit where credit's due. Mike Ritland brought up a great point, right? So the ID part, I think, is critical. And again, figure most people get a driver's license at 16. Hey, man, I don't even know if 16-year-olds the right time to be on freaking social, but, that's a good starting point, right? So you've got to have that identification to even get a to get a user profile. Now, how are they going to skin the cat for things like businesses? Not quite sure. So could it be, at least for Facebook, I've got to have a personal page, which I do nothing on. The business page really doesn't get great traction on Facebook as it does Instagram. But again, you got to look at Instagram. So at least warhog_com could go away because I wouldn't need a backup page because I wouldn't have to worry about being bamboozled. So again, that'd still leave Warhog Tactical, War Dog Duco. Are we going to do pets in there? I would say, yeah, they're still viable. How are we going to do that one? We can negotiate that one when the time comes. And then obviously On the Range podcast. So with all that, I want you guys to start thinking. If you haven't, man, this little book, this here, the Constitution of the United States, man, simple read. Look at super short, small, fairly good size text, boom. As I'm sitting there going the wrong way, right there, man. I mean, super easy read. Founding Fathers, absolute genius. If you don't have a copy, get a copy. Read it. Read it all the time. Because that way what right is. So this whole disinformation board by the federal government, sounds a lot like you're impeding on my First Amendment right. Because here's the bottom line. I can say whatever I want. If I want to sit there and go, you know what? There's a full moon tonight and there's not one. Who cares? I'm entitled to that. If I want to sit there and say, hey, current administration's rubbish, what are you going to sit there and say? Oh, you can't say that? That's disinformation? Dude, I'm entitled to my opinion. Absolute rubbish. It's an absolute clown show to watch the leader of the free world look like a moron. So I'm entitled to say that, man. So now if I go put a tweet out that says, hey, Brandon, let's go to the geriatric residence and check yourself in because you're a bumbling fool. What are they going to sit there and go, you can't say that? That's misinformation. That's my opinion. That's the very right that I fought for, that my friends died for, that the red on that flag represents their blood they have shed. And you think you're going to pull that from me? No way. You think you're going to pull that from the American people? Absolutely not. So stop this thing in its tracks, guys. Hit your current representatives up now. Because trust me, tomorrow I'm on the horn. And you go, why not today? Because no one's going to answer the phone. I'll send out some emails, but I'm a more of a phone person, right? I like to talk to the office and see what crony I got up there because typically it's some intern that knows nothing and go, hey, what's my representative doing about this? But yeah, you send an email as well. And here's the beauty with the emails, right? So it's probably more time. Spend a little bit more time typing, but once you draft it, bam, launch it out to all of them. You can just copy and paste, change the name, protect the innocent, boom, and get it out there. So you've got to do that. And here's the deal. We've got to get some change. We've got to stop this thing in our tracks. We've got to get our country back. Because right now, man, we are the laughing stock. I'm sorry to say, man, we are. We've got to get control. We've got no security in our southern border. Now you want to infringe is bad enough. Granted, we haven't been talking a bunch of anti-2A stuff, which is a good thing. But man, I'm starting to see. I always said, why is 2 1 and 1 2? Let me rephrase that. I've always asked why was not 2 1 and 1 2. I know why. I know why now, right? Because before it was always attack on the second. We never really had an attack on the first. Now they're trying to take your voice. They're trying to take your very opinion away from you. Don't let them savages do it. The only way we do that is we sit there at the ballot box. And hey, I would say this. Midterms are coming up. If you're on the fence who you're going for, man, where you stand on First Amendment. It's a simple deal. Do you believe in misinformation? If the answer is yes, you're not the guy I'm voting for. Beat it, pal. Second question, where do you sit on Second Amendment? Well, if you say, beat it, pal, you're done, because there is no shall not be infringed. Pretty rudimentary right there. Founding fathers, bam. No other amendment in the Constitution of the United States has those words. Think about that one. I wish they'd put it in the first. Wish they put it in all. But I understand the power that the second has when it says shall not be infringed. But that's my final thing to you guys. Get out there, find out. Reckoning 22 is going to happen. The House and Senate is going to flip. But don't forget, it's just not at the federal level. You got to look at your state leaders. You got to look at your local leaders. Get educated who these people are. Talk to them. Find out exactly where they sit. And if they don't align with your values and they're not going to represent you, that's the key thing. If they're not going to represent you, don't cast a vote, man. Don't do it. So anyway, guys, exercise your freedom to vote. Huge thing coming up. Let's make the reckoning 2022 like nothing they've ever seen. Let's get the right people in there that's going to have your back. Last thing, guys, don't forget warhog.com, kellydefense.com. Oh, by the way, patreon.com/on the range podcast, bi-monthly Zoom calls. We got training videos in there, behind the scenes, early access to the show, all that other good stuff. Tell your friends, tell your family about On the Range podcast. Leave us a rating review. Man, if you listen to a couple different platforms, hit all of them. It's just going to help us out. Trust me, it will just help us out. In closing, guys, here's the deal. You know the deal. Make sure you're doing a little bit to make yourself just 1% better every single day. All right, guys, you have a good one. Crush the day. God bless you. God bless your families. God bless our troops. And God bless the United States of America. Rick and Duco out.